It's Yonayield.
Here we go. I see the light inside you, brighter than the skies.
2, 1.
Hold on, just let us escape.
Alright guys, welcome back. Glad to have you here.
Warning. 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 Warning.
This will be a quick little video. Here we want to look at a potential Christmas trade. We want to look at seasonality, and in focus will be platinum and gold, potentially also palladium. So let's have a look into it. Good guys, the first thing we want to look at is actually the seasonality. I have opened this right here. This at the moment is open for gold, but we want to look at platinum first of all. So let's open it up. So very interesting here guys, this website is Seasonality, and this will show us some seasonal kind of trends or patterns that occur in the market. Normally, how do I act on these kind of trades? And this, like I said, is no financial advice, but for me, bigger swing trades like this that come with seasonality, I don't normally play them with CFDs because I do believe CFDs are the wrong instruments for that, but I do play them with warrants like a KO warrant, for example, or a option that you can hold, for example, or maybe you can also think about an ETF that has a small leverage of 1 to 3 or 1 to 2, or you just buy an ETF without any leverage. That is of course also possible. However, like I said, normally I don't play these kind of trades with CFDs because CFDs normally have a very high leverage, normally are not the instruments for holding for a longer time. And if you play seasonalities, normally the market needs to have some time to unfold and also needs some, breathing room. And with CFDs, most of the times, because of the high leverage, you need to go out fast, right? So without further ado guys, we have here the seasonality chart for platinum, and now let's have a look here, because this is for the last 10 years. That is like the default setting, so let's leave it at that for the moment. We will look of course at other settings as well. And as you guys can see, basically in mid-December, like December 15th or December 20th, something like this, a run starts in platinum that normally lasts into the next year, as you can see right here, and then kind of ends until the end of January or until mid-February, something like that. And after February normally there is then a pullback, right? So this is very nice to see in the seasonality. So let's go to a 15-year overview. You can see here again, this starts around the 22nd of December. Now let's go 25 years around the 20th December as well, and it goes into mid-February. And now lastly, look at the 36 years. Also here you can see this kind of pattern, working out beautifully. And yeah, so very interesting guys. Maybe let's look at a smaller frame because we have not done this in 5 years. In the last 5 years, it was actually even better to start already in October. However, also here you can see this kind of steep December run. So this is a kind of a nice Christmas trade idea right here, to have a swing position in platinum, right? And with that being said guys, now let's look back into the charts, how it looks there. Alright guys, and here we are in the chart of platinum, and here, as you guys can see, I drew up some stuff. It looks kind of interesting. We have seen here in the last 3 days, we did get, this is a daily chart I should add, we did get a nice buy up right here, also breaking a trend line that was in place here. As you can see, this just happened today, so interesting where it will close today. So that was in place. Then there was another one before that you can draw here, and another one here. So you can see it kind of broke a couple of trend lines, so it shows to me there's a momentum change. Also you can see that here in this kind of structure we have now kind of this upwards movement or trend going on at the moment. So very interesting. And for me, horizontal support and resistance is a little bit more important. You can see this right here. So also here potential breakout, and then minimum target would be this bigger trend line right here, and the bigger target would be here in this area. right, where we had this kind of sell-off taking place that was going on here, so potentially coming back again into this order block, if you want to say it like that, right? So in my opinion, interesting opportunity here, which coincides with the seasonality, where we can see in the seasonality, like I said, normally 20th December it gets interesting. And now let's look at the weekly also here. What can we see in the weekly chart? This is also interesting. If you look at the couple last weeks here, we did have an engulfing right here, which could mean that we again taking on this kind of upwards movement, and that we potentially continue this, which has started all the way down here. So this also looks good for me. Clear engulfing with the last week, you can see that, like, not clear, actually it's a body engulfing only. However, for me that is a engulfing that is valid and could take us somewhere up here again in this platinum price. Also looking at the monthly, lastly, this is also interesting right here. We can see now a color switch here, and interestingly enough, there has been a lot of wicks going on here that have been created here. Let's take another one here. So here potentially a lot of buying interest. We can see this in the wick, in those wicks on the weekly, and also here I would assume that we could get some upside again. Of course, lastly, we can also take a fib retracement right here as well, and we can see we have been between the 50% and the 61%, and price level round number would be like the 900 mark. So here potentially stabilization for a longer upswing that will probably then also take a little bit longer, right? So in my opinion, very nice here, platinum. And the nice thing that is, it is backed by seasonality. Also guys, very interesting to notice is that if we look a little bit at the larger picture, which I will do right now, we can observe this very significant low point here in the price of platinum. This basically happened in the financial crisis, as you can see here in 08. Then we had this steep pullback, then again a long down period, where we can see a final washout that took place here in 2020, as you can see here. So this low point has been washed out, and for me it looks like we are now stabilizing because this level has been, so to speak, washed out and defended. Also we can see this kind of trend line right here, where we can also see a breakout basically that happened here in 2021. So very interesting here from the longer term perspective. This of course is a very long term chart, but it is nice to see that here is potentially a trend change also going on, right? And as you guys can see, we have measured this before, 50-61%. Also I can see there is kind of a three-wave structure going on right here with the ABC, so meaning it could be that this correction here, this little correction of three waves here, has been finished, and we can see also that this high point has been taken out by that high point. So there is also a structure here that is changing upwards, meaning we could see something like this in the longer term, right? This is a very long-term picture, but I believe here we are at a crucial point in time as well. So very nice to see here, guys. Now to wrap it up, we want to look quickly at COT data of platinum. So I selected platinum right here, and yeah, we can see here in the price once again there was a low point taking place last month on the 10th, and basically we can see later that the commercials and the large speculators have been here at the zero line pretty much, and now once again we can see that the non-commercials, so that are the large speculators, they are buying, and we basically want to go with the non-commercials because those are basically the large players in the market, like the hedge funds, and they are basically here moving upwards again. So also here we can see an increase in the net positions, so they are buying, which is good to see. We can see here also this kind of structure change, right? It was going down here, and now it potentially moved, and maybe it will go up in the future here with the buying of the non-commercials. Okay, so with that being said, guys, very interesting, Next, we want to take a look at gold. This is the next item on our list. So let's have a look here. Gold, as you remember guys, I made a video in the beginning of the year. For me, it was pretty clear that this year, 2023, gold should be the best performing asset. And as you remember, go back in the history of my videos, this was in the beginning of the year, like February or something like that. I pretty much pointed out the low point where that should take for the year, where that should take place, right? And where there's a good buying opportunity for gold. And that was a very good analysis overall. So now let's look here at the seasonality. So this chart just goes up because gold is basically going up because of inflation, stuff like that over like the long term, right? This is 25 years. We want to look now at the 10-year perspective and the 5-year seasonality. And here we can also see that normally mid of December is a good point to buy, as you can see here, mid-December, and then starting with the 22nd December, 21st December, there is a run starting, as you guys can see here. And yeah, basically there is a trend moving upwards here in the seasonality, and this also lasts until end of January, even again until the mid of February, right? So also probably a good point here to buy gold. As you can see, it would have even been better in the end of November. Basically, this is where the trend is starting. If you look at the 10 years now, let's look at the 5 years. Here we can also see end of November is a good point to actually buy gold. So here maybe are a little bit late, but let's look in the chart how it is looking there. Then maybe let's look lastly in the 15-year. Here we can also see a low point around the 22nd of December, and also here there will be a run until 22nd of February, right? So if we trust the seasonality, of course this is not a holy grail, this doesn't mean this must happen, but it's also always a good indicator. If you want to swing trade something, hold for longer term, definitely have a look at seasonality, right? Then let's have a look at gold right here. How does it look right here? Now again, the COT data is pretty clear. Also here we can see that the non-commercial, so this is the line above, so the line that is brighter, they are basically long. As you can see, here's the zero line, and the commercials, they are short. So also here we can see that basically in November, 10th of November, there was a low point, right, basically, and we can see that the large speculators were basically buying it up. This is why the gold price went up. So they are buying currently. Now there's a little dump here in the end, but the trend is still up. So that looks pretty good. Then let's have a look at the chart to wrap it up in gold. So this is the gold price. So let's get rid of these lines right here, guys. And yeah, basically guys, I remember in the beginning of the year, you can go back to the videos. As I mentioned, here was February. This is the buying point where I said around the 1,800 mark to buy it. This is also why the lines were in here. So basically this level, and after that we went up for 2 months, 3 months, kind of like that, and then we did a pullback on the same level, and now we are basically in the up movement again, right? So here looks pretty good on the monthly. We can also see there is a clear engulfing right here in gold with this candle, and overall we are basically in an upwards trend that we can also see right here. This is an upwards trend right here. Also, if you want to do elite wave analysis, which I'm not the biggest fan of, I only like it for retracement, I don't like it for impulses, but if you want to count it, fine. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something like that, right? So looking interesting right here, and then we can see we have broken this high here as well. Now, what are the targets for gold with this kind of next move, which I see here is this kind of move? So we can do some different projections. What I would do first is focus on the engulfing, which I have highlighted out here with this arrow. This is the monthly engulfing. So we want to measure this candle and project it upwards, and then we can see the target would be here, 200 and 223. So basically that is at 2200 until 2250. So for the longer term, I'm expecting gold to come up here, and that is from the engulfing the target. Now let's look into the structure target. So then we want to do ABC, project it up, because that will probably be a higher target. So for that, actually that would also be around here, 2270 until even 2003, yeah, 380, something like that, right? If you think about this kind of, you know, three-wave ABC move up here, something like that, right? But this is for the long term. There could be, of course, pullbacks at any time. So now let's look at the smaller time frame. What is going on here? Interesting, we see some stabilization here in the weekly, because we did have a sell-off some weeks ago, tried to engulf, but I don't think it really worked out. And basically we are defending this kind of structure level right here. It's kind of messy, but this stabilization gives me a clearer picture that we are still in the upwards movement, as you guys can see. And also there is probably some diagonal lines, yeah, right here. This is why it kind of stabilized here. And yeah, so this is how it looks on the weekly. Now let's look at the daily. We can see there was a momentum candle here in December taking place, and I'm expecting this one to be the candle when we compare with seasonality that will you know, give us this seasonal pattern where we will just go up until the mid of February. So interesting would be, in my opinion here, because it already run away a little bit, would be another pullback. That would be beautiful, something like that. Not sure if that will happen though, but that would be nice, right? If there is still a little bit of pullback to get it a little bit cheaper somewhere, but we need to see. If we go now in the 4 hour, basically here was the momentum. We have here the last low point, and yeah, here also a pullback would make sense, because normally this kind of momentum initiates the bigger move, but normally there is a three-wave pullback first. So this is where I like Elliott wave with the pullbacks, because normally they do come in 3 waves, and then there will be another trend coming, right? And we can also measure here with the Fibonacci. So that would be 5061 area would be here. So yeah, it would be beautiful to make another pullback. It should come, because normally once we have this kind of impulse move, there will be first a 3-wave correction. It rarely goes through, you know, just without any 3-wave correction. So I'm expecting also here maybe a little bit downside, and then a rally up in gold. So we will see how this will unfold for the next couple of sessions. But yeah, as you guys see that in the seasonality, basically around the 22nd, it would be nice to buy it. So that would be 2 more days from now, and then, like I said, to hold it until, yeah, kind of mid-February, kind of mid or end of February. Yeah, so then let's look at our last candidate we want to take a look at, and that is Palladium. Of course, all of these instruments are in the same kind of sector, so to speak, or same kind of asset class, I should rather say. So they are similar, of course. And now let's try to find it. So here we have it. Okay, so how does it look here? Also Palladium, we're looking now at 15 years at the moment for the patterns, and also here it's the same, guys. Basically 21st, 22nd, there's a trend starting up, because all of these are precious metals, you know, so they are similar. And also here you can either hold it until, yeah, mid or end of January, or if you're in for the longer run, until February. This even trends until the beginning of March. Very interesting. And now let's look at 10-year. How does it look here? Yeah, also around the 20th, 22nd, it starts to trend until here, end of January. Then there's a pullback, and then there is another steep trend in February that takes you into March. So also interesting candidate. Now let's look again at the COT data. So we want to look at Palladium. What's going on here? Yeah, basically, yeah, this is a bit crazy. It's a wide spread between oh, actually, guys, Palladium in the COT data is not even so nice, because remember the bright curve is the larger speculators, and they are basically short right here, and the commercials, they are basically long. Interesting. So here in the COT data it doesn't show us to buy. However, there could be, because this spread is very wide, eventually it should converge. So that means the large speculators would start to buy, and then it could give us a low point in Palladium, which we can see here in the chart a little bit. There is a low point that happened here in December. So there is a low point here. We can see the structure change, right? If we just look at this chart of the price, which happened here with a new high, taking out this high point, and maybe this means, if we go to COT data, that finally the spread will converge back, meaning the large speculators would buy it. We will see. Then let's go to the price of Palladium lastly. How does it look there? Alright guys, so let's open it up here. Of course, we first want to look at the bigger picture again, so let's straight go out to the monthly. And here it's interesting because, Palladium has been also in this very big down run a longer time now. I remember there was a big buying hype in Palladium all the time, especially like 2020 and these kind of years. And now it is going down. So, but we can see this price chart also looks very interesting. Now I'm even going back out more. This goes all the way back to the 2000, guys. So let's have a look here. Very interesting stuff. We basically see that we have reached this high point of the 2000s, and basically we are back here, right? And this for me looks like there's a new cycle actually coming here in Palladium. So also very nice, something for a very long-term play if you are into these things. For me, I don't do that long-term plays. Normally I do warrants for a couple of months. If you want to do very long term, normally then you don't do it with leverage, then you don't even go into warrants, you basically go into an ETF. So this would maybe be a candidate for a ETF to play it, right? And here it looks to me like a new kind of cycle coming. Of course, this monthly candle still has 9 days to go, so it's not in yet, but it looks very strongly like it is engulfing here. Definitely some buying interest at this very technical level. And what gives me also a little bit more confidence is that we have here this technical low point, as you guys can see right here. Let me highlight this out. So guys, you can basically see this right here. There is a very nice technical low point in the structure, and this gives me even more confidence that this support level will be a bigger one that will hold, right? Because we have this here in the structure, and from the last kind of upward trend right here, right? That looks something like that. So that was the last upward trend. So there is a very nice point here also in the structure, guys. Good. So much from Palladium on the big time frame. So what I'm expecting here is, if this closes in 9 days, so in the end of the year, actually here I would expect a little pullback again in the beginning of January then, and then a bigger run up. This is what I would expect here if I just look at the monthly. Now let's look at the weekly. Here we can also see this big change here in structure. Basically this down movement here has been taken out. So also here it would be nice once it comes up, a little pullback, and then again the up movement, right? So very interesting. What could be the targets? So this here would be basically the first target, again the 1600. There could be other targets though. If we think about a trend line pullback, I can see one here. So in the long term, something like this could even happen, right? Where we go again back to 2000 price level, right? So very interesting. Definitely keep it on the radar. Now lastly, let's look in the daily chart in Palladium. Here we can nicely see the structure change. So this last high point has been taken out. Let's measure the target for this. So we are pretty much close to the first target, which is in this area, guys, right here. So I'm expecting a little bit more upside, and then probably the pullback to take place, and then again the upside to be preferred. So I would definitely put this on the watch list. Could be a very well play. For me personally, I don't prefer Palladium at this moment. I think Platinum and Gold look like the better picks right now for the seasonality kind of play, where you hold for the next month or 2 months, right, until February. But Palladium for me would be a play where I would say, okay, let it run up a little bit, and then if it in the mid of January or somewhere comes down here again, you know, in the beginning of next year, then maybe buy it somewhere here, right? So that is all for now, guys. With that being said, I want to wrap it up. Yeah, and we looked at everything, so hopefully you could take away something from this video. This was a little bit different because here we go in seasonality in some kind of longer term plays, which I like, which I said is not my trading activity. I would not consider this trading per se, because normally I am in forex trading. This is more something for portfolios or for kind of accounts where you hold some warrants, right, for a couple of months. And for me, these are just some swings where you buy something and hold it 1 or 2 months, right, with a knockout certificate. For example, this is how I will play it. But like I said, at this point, this is no financial advice here at all. But this is why I'm looking at these assets, right? This is not the idea here is not to trade around much. The idea is to more buy and hold, right, for a little bit, and have this kind of swing trade going on that is a little bit longer. Okay, guys, so with that being said, I wish you a wonderful evening, and I catch you in the next one with more trading content, and of course also some more shorter term content, but that will be in future videos. So take care, guys, and I see you in the next one. Peace.